Banette is a doll that is actively looking for a child that abandoned it to exact revenge for abandoning it. But how is it linked to its base form, Shuppet? How did the cute Casper turn into a demon from the Evil Dead franchise? It's actually all very surprising, and it all shows that Banette is the scariest Pokemon. But first, like and subscribe to me. That I would really like and appreciate. Now, to understand Banette, we need to understand Ghost type Pokemon. Almost all Ghost type Pokemon start as a lost spirit of either a Pokemon or a human, and that spirit or soul turns into Pokemon over time. For example, Ghastly is a lost Pokemon spirit that, over time, it absorbed the grievances of the deceased until it turned into Gas Ghost that can easily be blown away by the wind. That's the Pokemon we know as Ghastly, while Shuppet is a piece of cloth that got possessed by a lost wandering spirit that got attracted to that cloth, turning it into and I'm going to butcher this pronunciation, a Teroterobozu, a Japanese handmade cloth doll. And eventually, this cute cloth doll ghost somehow turns into a monstrous, evil doll that wants to exact revenge on the kid that abandoned it. And if that's not even enough, it can mega evolve when it has so much vindictiveness inside of it. So, how did this cute cloth doll turn into that? Now, Banette is one of the few Pokemon with a hard to explain reason to its evolution line, and most people in the fandom still are figuring it out. Unlike, for example, Diratini, that evolves into Dragonair and then into Dragonite. This evolution line makes sense. You can see it, and there is even some logic to it. Dragonair grows legs. It did because it turns from a dragon worm into a dragon. The freaking Dragonite. It makes sense. While a doll made of pieces of cloth turning into a doll with zippers and fluff and face kinda makes sense. Both are dolls, and the first is more simple than the latter, but it needs more explanation to how it happens, and that's what I'm going to do. It's also unique in terms of its evilness. You see, the Pokemon world is if our world, different folklore, come to life, but on steroids. There is a whole list of Pokemon that actively hunts humans in the wild, and Banette is one of those. Except Banette is one of the few that is looking for a specific child to exact its revenge on or abandoning it, like almost all children do to their dolls. And in some cases, it will get so vindictive that the vindictiveness turns into power through the Mega of Stone and powers its Mega Evolution. And it Mega Evolve just from vindictiveness, how much vindictiveness it has. And we can only imagine how painful and slow it is when it's doing that to the unfortunate child that innocently abandoned its doll like all children do. Yes, all of that is just from a doll. It's sort of a messed up version of a Toy Story. If it met the Evil Dead, but where does Shop comes in? Banette can be a Pokemon that has no evolution or base form, let's be honest, but it does with the possessed piece of cloth doll. So how does this possibly work? Beyond the two being different types of dolls. Well, we have to understand Shuppet more. Shuppet feeds on negative emotions like anger, jealousy, resentment, malice. And that's why it hangs around houses where the residents are jealous people, vindictive, and full of negative emotions that completely envelops the house. So Shuppet gets in and feeds on those vindictiveness and negative emotions, sort of like the Turbozu. And the stronger those emotions are, the stronger Shuppet becomes. And here is the thing: the doll that turns into Banette is the same doll that is used when the move swap is used. And if you look at both, it's Banette. And that doll, you can see that it's a very specific doll, what turns into a Banette. And I think it's because this doll is really, really popular and can be found everywhere as some sort of a Barbie doll in the Pokemon world. This is why all Pokemon use this doll to swap themselves in battle, and this is why Banette is always made up of this doll. And since Shuppet feeds on strong negative emotions, and houses that has dolls like that, because usually houses with dolls are houses with families, children exist in these houses, and Shuppet only hangs around houses that are filled with negative emotions. Banette can only happen as a result of a Shuppet that got very, very strong in a dysfunctional household where the kids are probably mistreated and use their dolls for emotional comfort, but either from moving houses or a parent that discarded that child doll as some form of punishment. That doll would have absorbed a lot of the negative emotions from the child, attracting the same Shuppets that got really, really strong from feeding on those same emotions. So the spirit that resided inside of Shuppet gets out of the cloth and starts living inside that doll instead, either intentionally or because Shuppet was feeding so much on the energy that the spirit slipped into the doll. And this spirit is a strong spirit that is full of negative emotions. And that's where the evilness and vindictiveness of Banette comes from. And after the spirit feasted on all of the energy of the doll, Shuppet is now a fluff doll full of negative emotions of the child that abandoned it. So it starts seeking that same child for abandoning the doll, whether it's by accident or from abuse. Banette will get its revenge on the child. And if the child was so heavily mistreated from their parents, Banette, as a result, would be so strong from all the trauma, and it will do everything in its power to exact revenge slowly and painfully, not on the abuser, the parent, but the victim. Wow. The fact that there are trainers who seek this Pokemon means that Banette was either done from exacting its revenge and is wandering aimlessly, or was on its way for it. And for every Banette that is caught, probably a child is saved from a horror movie scenario. Or maybe it's just the abandoned, or it's like got abandoned by a child and it wants to get reunion with that child. It's not, depending on the case. If the child is lucky. Personally, this only means it's actually good to have a Banette on your team, because you get to have an absolutely cool, creepy Pokemon on your side, and you save children too. Banette is cool, and Phoebe, one of the Elite Four of Hoenn, has two. This should mean it's a good pick too, right? Okay, I hope you enjoyed the video and press the subscribe button and like too. So see you on the next video. Goodbye.